Hey, what's slicing everybody? Chris back with CAC Knives here with another knife review / knife overview video. Hopefully y'all are having a good day. Sorry I haven't been posting as much lately. Been a little busy here over the summer months, but should be getting back into some normal 1 to 2 videos a week schedule now. Today we got a pretty cool one for you. This is the Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive version of the Kizer Lieb. There's some information there. You got the model number, the designer, and Nitro V blade steel, and it's got a resin and brass handle. Now, before we get into the review of this today, I do have kind of a announcement of a knife from Kizer that I think is going to be very popular. On August 8th at 10 p.m. EDT time, okay, 10 p.m. EDT time, the Kizer Militol with a polished DLC blade and 80s camo carbon handle scales is going to drop. Now, me personally, I think that knife's going to sell out within 5 to 10 minutes, maybe faster, okay? I'm not sure how many they made. I don't know if this is going to be a Kizer website exclusive, but I do know they're dropping on Kizer's website at that time. I imagine for a little bit higher price than the Purple Haze fat carbon that they did, but maybe not. Maybe it'll be the same price. I don't know if they're going to do 2 waves of this like they did the last time. I know, at least I'm pretty sure based on the post that I saw, it's going to be discounted at first, but if that's something you guys are interested in, that is when it drops, and you're going to want to set reminders for that because I think it's going to be something that sells out fast. But anyway, let's get into this exclusive today. A much cheaper knife than that today, but definitely not any less exciting in my opinion. There was some hiccups on this knife during the drop. Only 100 of these exist as of right now. If you want to kind of listen to the story on the hiccups Smoky Mountain Knife Works did, go watch my unboxing of this knife. It can be found on my channel. But today's just going to be about the review. So before we get into kind of me talking about the knife, let's get some measurements here. The knife has almost 2.5 inch blade. It's pretty close to 2.5 inches there. I would say the cutting edge is at least 2.5 inches since we got a little curve going there in the blade shape. And let's get some other well-known knives out here. This is a smaller knife overall based on the average knives that we're used to seeing. Here we're bringing out the, my flicking skills are not on it today. We're bringing out the Civivi Elementum and the QSP Penguin, 2 of the most common knives in the knife game, in my opinion. And the camera sometimes can be a little deceiving with the angle, so we will flop them there just to be sure you guys are getting as accurate of a scale measurement as we can give you. Let's also bring out my customized Ontario Rat here, and let's bring out the Nimco 80 20.5, 2 other knives that I believe are very common within the knife community. And again, we'll flop here just so you can see the size reference both on the top and the bottom. We will go over my 5 main points when reviewing the knife here, and then we will talk about my overall thoughts at the end. Now, like I said, this is a Nitro V blade steel, which at the price point that this was sold of $65, that along with this green swirl resin, the purple pivot screws, and the bronze and gold finish that it kind of has all over the knife. I would say $65 is a very fair price. It does run on bearings. You can definitely feel that when closing. Not the smoothest drop shut Kizer that I've ever held, and you cannot get a grip there. I figured why not give it a shot and try. Sometimes you can when blades are coated, you can reverse flick them even if there's not a slot, but in this case I don't think it's one you're going to be able to. But yeah, let's go over the points here. Anybody that's new to my reviews, what I've recently started doing is this 5-step process. I go over 5 different main talking points, and I rate the knife out of 10 on each talking point. So the first one is fit and finish. I think the fit and finish on this knife is superb, and considering this is a Kizer, I expect nothing less. Kizer does a very good job on their knives. I don't hardly ever see any, inconsistencies. I've never received a dud from Kizer. So I'm sure people have. Duds are in every company, any product in general has a chance to show up with issues, but I've never experienced it, and it's the same here. So I would say fit and finish, you could say 10 out of 10 here. There's like no hot spots. The knife is definitely sharp, and as far as I can tell, I've owned this knife for what, about a month now, month or so, and I've not found any issues with the fit and finish. So number 2, price for the materials and the work that went into it. As I've already mentioned, yes, 100%. I think $65 hits this knife right on the mark. I think they could have easily priced this knife $100 and it would have been looked at just the same, just because of all the work and all the uniqueness that went into this knife. These things are very rare in the knife world, knives like this. So yeah, it's a knife that looks like it's got kind of a really custom, unique finish. It's not something that's just basic G10 or basic carbon fiber or anything like that. So 100% 65, right on the money. 3, smooth action and fidgetivity. Well, it only has one way for deployment, which is the flipper tab, and the action, the drop shuttiness could be a little bit better, though, depending on the kind of person that you are. You prefer your knives to not just, instantly drop shut. So I get that can kind of, it can kind of be a argumentative ground there, depending on who you are, but most people like their knives to drop shut more so than this. It kind of requires, I could probably give it one real, I could give it a really aggressive motion and it'll drop shut all the way. But for bearings, I expect it to be a little bit better than this, but that's okay. I would give the action and fidgetivity a 8 out of 10 because it only has one way to deploy it, and like you saw there, it doesn't have Kizer's level of drop shut that I have seen on pretty much every other knife of theirs that I've ever handled. So, which has probably been, I've probably handled at least 7 Kizer knives in my knife collecting career. So, and this is the least smooth one. I'm not trying to say it isn't smooth, because it definitely is. It's just not as smooth as some of the other ones have been. So the next point here is its ease of carry, and how lightweight is it. So this knife is insanely lightweight. These are stainless liners here, but they are very well milled out on the inside on both sides, which is going to be always hard to see on the camera. It's hard to show milling on the camera. You could definitely see there a little bit on the show side scale. And then you could kind of see, might be easier to see on this side. You kind of see it's milled out in there, but they've definitely tried to reduce the weight for sure. It not being a very large knife itself, you can definitely kind of get the idea that it's not going to weigh a huge amount. And it doesn't. I would say it weighs probably a little bit more than the rat here. And I know the rat is a longer knife. However, you must understand the rat is not as thick. This knife is thicker, and that's, you know, it's going to add to the weight. The steel liners are also larger, and the steel is really what's contributed to the weight here. Those steel liners, everything else combined doesn't weigh very much. But yeah, I would say the weight is pretty good. It could be a little bit better, but you know, there's not really much more they could have taken out here, so I kind of understand that element. The pocket clip, you know, it's a pretty basic clip, though it does have a really weird kind of shape where it attaches. It's like a big oval or like an egg shaped thing down there, but the clip works just fine, and I like that they colored it to match the rest. It is a deep carry clip, barely any of this knife, just that little tip there. I mean, you could see where it's going to be in your pocket, so just a tiny tip is going to stick out, but everything else is going to be in your pocket very nice and clean. The knife comes out of your pocket nice and clean, no problems, doesn't move around, doesn't slip out when you don't need it to. So I would say the easy carry and lightweight, given the size of the knife. Most knives I would give a 10 out of 10 in this case, but considering this knife is smaller, it could probably do to weigh a little bit less. I don't think they needed to make the liners as thick and aggressive as they did. Of course, maybe they did that on purpose to kind of give the green a kind of copper, bronze, goldish finish going around the green, which I will admit does look cool. So maybe they did this on purpose. But it definitely made the knife weigh a little bit more than it needed to, protruding those steel liners outside of the resin. So, I mean, it's beneficial for the look, which is mostly what people are buying this knife for. So I guess I'd give it probably a 9.5 out of 10. I don't want to give it a 10 out of 10 because, like I said, for its size, could weigh a little less, but I understand why they did it. So I'll meet in the middle. Look-wise, it definitely gives the knife a better look. So we'll go ahead with a 9.5. And then step 5, the easy to maintain and clean and sharpen. Well, sharpen, it should be very easy. It's got a simple curve on the blade. Straight blades are usually the easiest to sharpen. Though sometimes people prefer little curves like this to sharpen, depending on who it is. But sharpening the knife here is going to be very simple. So no recurve, just one simple smooth stroke, and you're good to go. Now, as far as the easy to maintain, as far as easy to clean it, it has an open design, so it's pretty easy to clean without taking it apart. Though I will say, very annoyingly, there are 3 barrel spacers back here in the back. Now, granted, there's nothing in between. So you got the pivot screw, which is only on one side, which I do appreciate. You got 3 barrel spacers here in one spot, so you're definitely secure. You don't got to worry about the knife falling apart back here. That is for sure. And then there are spots on the inside of the knife where it looks like there may be other screws, but they may have just taken that out to try to reduce more weight. I'm not really sure, and I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to show you on the camera. Here, you can kind of see them there. There's one there, there's one there. They're perfectly circular as to look like a screw would go in there, but I don't think a screw's actually there. So I'm not 100% sure why they did that. Like I said, it may have been just trying to reduce just a tad bit more weight. I'm not 100% sure, but they are in there. I don't think they're threaded out, so yeah, I don't think those are screws of any sort. So you should just have these two back here for the handle scales, and I guess this third one in the back is just is holding it on from the inside. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I suppose if you took the handle scale off, you'd see what's going on there. I can't fully tell what the point of the third one is. Yeah, that's definitely weird. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before on a knife, where you have a barrel spacer and you don't have screws on either side to release the barrel spacer. Very unique. So I'm not sure about that. The pocket clip does go through to the liner. So if you're wanting to remove this scale, this resin scale, you will have to remove both screws of the pocket clip to get it off. And like I said, I'm not sure about that third barrel spacer there. Not sure what its purpose is. I'm sure it has something to do with the resin handle there, because people, you got to understand, these resin handles are very unique. They're not done very often. I'm not even fully sure how they're not on knives like this, because you know, you're going to have the resin material in there. You're going to have to clear coat the top layer or something to keep them in there. So I'm not 100% sure on that, and I have a feeling that that's what that's for, but who knows. But as far as the easy to maintain, clean, and sharpen, I don't think you should have any problem cleaning and sharpening this knife. It should be pretty easy to do. If you are a novice to sharpening, there is a million sharpening videos out there. I am not the best knife sharpener myself, so that's why I don't make a video. Maybe one day I'll get a little better and I can make a video and put it on the channel of how to sharpen your knife. But then again, there's so many ways to sharpen knives. Some people just, you know, literally use stones. Some people use some of that fancy looking crazy angle equipment from like Work Sharpen or those companies that cost like $100 to $200 and stuff like that. Some people just use the simple $20 or $40, you know, sharpener from Amazon. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. But if you ever need help with that stuff, you know, just type in how to sharpen my knife on YouTube and you're going to be good to go. I would type in how to sharpen my folding knife specifically, because there's a lot of videos on sharpening chef knives or fixed blades. And while they're pretty similar, with folding knives, you got to take into account, luckily this one has a nice sharpening choil. Not all knives do. More and more modern knives have sharpening choils, but let me see if I got a knife sitting here that doesn't have one. I might not actually, because so many. Yeah, here we go. This Rough Rider here. No real sharpening choil there. The end of this knife is going to be very difficult to sharpen, because it's gonna start. You can even see when they first did the sharpening, how the blade kind of does how it's kind of further down than the rest of the blade. That's because it's not easy to sharpen that knife. So yeah, but that's okay. Keep in mind, Rough Riders cost about $10 to $15 each, so you can't be too picky with them. But in terms of this knife, I would say overall, this knife would get a 9 out of 10. If it had another way to open it, I would honestly say that it's probably a 10 out of 10. Because the little bit of fidgetivity lacking, I know that doesn't matter for a lot of people. But for me as a collector, for somebody who likes to get their knives out, you know, open them, mess with them, I'm sure all you other collectors out there know what I mean. You're fidgeting with them while you're watching shows. Heck, sometimes you're even fidgeting with them in the car, which I don't recommend, but it happens. You just can't really help it sometimes. You just like to get it out. That's the fun of the hobby, you know. You drive them big old trucks or really nice sports cars, you like to rev your engines up, you like to hear the loud thump, you like to see the smoke of the diesel. Knife guys like that action, okay? That's one of the biggest things. We like the looks of them, we like the action, we like the feel. And for me, I like uniqueness, and this knife definitely hits the uniqueness. To me, it looks like a knife that was made for Loki, for Marvel, which I think is why they called it the God of Mischief. That was the title of the knife. But yeah, I think they did a real good job with this one. Kizer and Smoky Mountain continue to release exclusives. I'm not hugely interested in their like G10 exclusives. G10 knives, it's hard to wow me on knives like that anymore, but that's okay. If they make another resin knife, I will probably instantly get it. Finish is another company that's heading into the resin and kyanite world, and I love it. I have a finish knife on the way, actually, that uses kyanite that I'm not showing on the channel, and that knife will be coming up soon in an unboxing once it arrives. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, guys. You guys could do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not. I'm almost at 500 followers. I'm getting real close. When we hit that 500 mark, I will be giving away a knife. I actually have it in hand, the one I'm going to give away, so I am ready for that. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.